Welcome back to another Sim Sunday. I am the Sunday Pilot, and today we're in Antigua in the British Virgin Islands, or as the Americans call it, Antigua. As we continue the series we're simply calling Interesting Approaches, I thought it would be a good idea to attempt to fly the British Airways shuttle service between Antigua and St. Kitts. Flight time is only 45 minutes as per the schedule, but the distance is less than 60 miles between both airports. British Airways offer this service in real life a couple of days a week as an extension to their London Gatwick Antigua flight. The BA2157 flown by a 777-200ER goes from London Gatwick to Antigua. The crew from the previous day's flight in from London Gatwick take over the flight and fly the shuttle service to St. Kitts and back to Antigua, before a third crew fly back to London Gatwick on the overnight service. In fact, I last flew from London Gatwick to Antigua and back again in October 2019. And of course you can watch the trip report that I made on the main Living the Dream channel. And if all go well, my wife and I are due to be back in Antigua later on this year. However, in 2020 we plan to fly Virgin Atlantic, so it'll either be an A330-300 or a Boeing 787-9. Anyway, back to this virtual flight in prepared 3D version 4.5, it's time to get right into SimBrief and plan the short flight from Antigua across to St. Kitts. As I said previously, this journey is only something like 57 miles from airport to airport. We'll be departing Antigua on runway 07 and also arriving in St. Kitts on runway 07. However, in prepared and on the PMDG 777-200, there are absolutely no nav aids to follow on this approach into St. Kitts, which also has a very short runway for this large Boeing. So I have every respect for the BA crew that do this for real, because it took me 6 attempts to actually get the Boeing on the ground at St. Kitts in this virtual flight, and even my successful landing wasn't pretty. I've already completed all of my pre-flight checks, programmed the FMC, so we're ready to go on this short shuttle service from Antigua across to St. Kitts. And you know what that means now, guys. I'm going to shut up and get on with this flight.
Bird 2157 heavy, cleared to Bradshaw Airport as filed. Fly runway heading, climb and maintain altitude 8,000. Departure on 119.1, squawk 4045. 118.2 when ready. Taxiing close short runway 7 off Victor Bravo.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback. Departure check completed. All engines clear. Start at will. Unlocking gear. Tow truck disconnected. Bypass pin removed. Left is clear, right is clear.
Right, as we taxi out to the end of the runway here at VC Bird International Airport at St. John's in Antigua, I thought I should explain some things. I'm currently flying the PMDG 777-200LR, which of course most of you will know British Airways don't actually own. PMDG don't actually offer a 200 or a 200 ER version of this popular wide-body Boeing aircraft. So for the purpose of this video, the 200LR model was as close as I could get. The airport scenery that I'm using here in prepared 3D version 4.5 is from Tropicalsim. And when we arrive in St Kitts, the scenery that you will be seeing will be an old copy of Taxi to Gate St Kitts Bradshaw International for FSX and prepared version 1 and 2. And there lies the first problem. The scenery layering was all wrong in prepared. And of course I'm using Orbx Global. And that, guys, is my excuse for making a pretty horrible landing when we actually get there. Okay, I'm going to jump forward in a second or two to the point I'm asking for takeoff clearance.
Seabird Tower, Seabird 2157 heavy at runway 7, ready for departure, IFR, red shot. Seabird 2157 heavy, flying up and wait, runway 7, flying up and wait, Seabird 2157 heavy. Golf Victor Bravo, contact Seabird departure on 119.1. 119.1 for Golf Victor Bravo. Seabird 2157 heavy, cleared for takeoff, runway 7, surface wind 115 at 8. Cleared for takeoff, runway 7, Seabird 2157 heavy.
Approaching 07. On taxiway, on taxiway.
Because this is such a short flight, we had barely even departed Antigua when the ATC being generated by Prepared 3D was starting to vector us towards an initial approach into St Kitts. The cruising altitude in this flight was only 8,000 feet, and that's exactly where we're heading now.
Approaching 07.
400. Caution, terrain. Caution, terrain. 200. $100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
That was certainly not one of my better landings. However, when I was learning to fly a light aircraft, my instructor always told me that any landing you can walk away from is a good landing. But I guess in commercial aviation, when you're flying a machine that's worth more than $250 million with lives in the back, providing a smooth experience is absolutely key to customer service. As I said at the beginning of this video, this was my 6th attempt to land at St. Kitts for this particular video. Controlling the rate of descent in the 777 is actually quite easy. Once the auto throttle is set up, it stays in place and automatically disconnects at 30 feet above the runway. And that is where I really struggled on this approach into St. Kitts. The taxi to gate scenery that I'm using here was built for FSX and prepared 1 and 2, certainly not prepared version 4. And I think that means that the texture layering on top of Orbx Global wasn't quite right. On my first 3 or 4 attempts to land at St. Kitts for this video, I ended up striking the ground at the runway threshold. So in the end, I found out that the best thing to do was to land slightly further down the runway, as I did in this flight. You will see this happening again in a few videos time when I attempt to land a GOL 737-800 at the city airport in Rio de Janeiro. As for this video, as you can see, we've made it to St. Kitts in one piece. And this is where we bring this episode of Sim Sunday to a close. In the next video, we're back in X-Plane with the real Airbus pilot, who have persuaded across to the dark side, and therefore Boeing. It's a fantastic video where he demonstrates the power of the Zibo 737-800 for X-Plane, and the fantastic thing about that particular add-on aircraft is it is absolutely free. And on approach into the very interesting airport at Tenerife North in the Canaries, he gets a wind shear warning forcing a go around. So that's all to come in the next video here on Sim Sunday. So you know what to do if you want to continue to follow the real Airbus pilot and myself as we demonstrate the art of the possible with a copy of Flight Simulator on a decent PC. Yep, just hit that subscribe button and the bell icon for notifications of future videos on this channel. So thanks for watching and fly safe.